Live. You're live. Okay. Hello,
Okay.
YouTubers. Welcome to the biblical law class for today. It will start with husband. Take it, husband.
Hi, everybody. We're studying about the laws of tzitzis. What are the
Turn off the air
613
conditioner. I'm not going to hear you.
commandments? Press the then it doesn't show.
Now,
Okay, everybody. So if you have a spare pair of tzitzis, it would be very valuable to grab it now. If not, you can use the one that you're wearing. But as I've stressed often, if we just read the words, they will be meaningless. We have to see what we are talking about. Um, that's why I say if you have a pair of tzitzis, you're wearing it, you could just pull one corner. To pull one corner so that you could pull it out enough so that you could measure, do some measuring on the corner, which is basically what we're doing now. But as I say, if we just hear the text, it's it doesn't go very far at all. We have to actually see what we're doing. Okay. Um, I have both here. Be good if I could lend you one. Huh? So does everyone have a pair of tzitzis they can work with? Uh, we're good. Okay. Thank you very much. Reb Chaim, you get something to work with? Or use the pair that you're wearing either way. Okay. Very good. So amongst the very important laws that we learned last week was the fact that according to the Torah laws, basically there are two fabrics that we are concerned about. They are wool and linen. They had other fabrics, but the Torah is basically only concerned for the most part with wool and linen. For that reason, the author of the long Shulchan Aruch, the full-size Shulchan Aruch, paskins, that was Rabbi Yosef Cairo, he paskins that from the Torah standpoint itself, you only have to wear tzitzis on a woolen or linen garment. You don't have to put tzitzis on other garments, except for the rabbinic requirement. The rabbis want us to wear tzitzis on other fabrics too, but according to this opinion, that basically it's wool and linen are the six from the 613 commandments, and something like cotton, which is also so pretty often, that would be rabbinically. According, however, to the Ashkenazic editor of the long Shulchan Aruch, that's Rabbi Moshe Isserles, he says that all garments are required by the Torah, other fabrics as well, to have tzitzis. That was one of the important things we learned last week. And that's also why we learned that preferably, if you possibly can, one should have a wool tallis cotton, a wool small tallis, as it's called, miniature tallis, to wear under your shirt or over your shirt, depending on which custom you wish to fulfill. It's very important to have a wool one because then, according to all opinions, you are fulfilling tallis cotton, and of course in shul to wear the woolen tallis. There's no question at times it's very hot and it's quite uncomfortable with them, but that's why it's so important to have them. There's no such thing today as a linen tallis cotton or a linen tallis. There's a reason for that, which I might speak about another time. It's a precaution. Technically, it would be okay. So those are two very important laws that we learned last week that I wanted to review, and why there's such a great importance upon having a woolen miniature tallis and, of course, a woolen tallis for prayer in shul. Now, with regard to the placement of the tzitzis, if I may, I was hoping, Rebbitzin, you don't have a piece of string handy, do you, by any chance?
let me see over there. Give me a minute.
Just I might even be able to use an elastic here. Yeah, I have an elastic band. I want to demonstrate something uh, for you. I think I have a nice long elastic here. Well, I've found something I can use, so don't worry about it. Okay.
Did I look for anybody?
No, it's not necessary. Can you see? I have like a broken elastic band here, and what looks like a tissue. So what I did is I made a hole in the tissue, and I'm placing the elastic band. I'm pretending it's a string, And as you can see, that many people have their tzitzis made this way. The hole is near the corner, and we're going to learn about that. But you'll notice that one side of the loop, right? It's really the four long strings that are doubled over. It's four long strings that are used to make the tzitzis. When you double them over, they become 8. And of course, as you notice, there's the various knots and windings, but really it's 4 long strings. You put them in the hole, and they come out to be 8 shorter strings that are all connected together.
Did this help
So-
you at all?
This is fine. I think what I have. You can see Can you see what I'm doing? Can you see the band? Yeah, Reb Chaim, you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that for sure? Okay, I have to be sure. Sometimes you answer very quietly. I'm not sure whether you heard me or whatever. So this is what you would call a common way of making the tzitzis, where you go into the hole and come out the other end. But what happens, as you can see, is that the loop, right, the loop that's holding the tzitzis, this would be 4 strings. You see the way it hangs? It hangs towards the flat part of the garment. So maybe you've seen that. I'm going to talk about the other type very soon. But do you notice that, look at the point, see where my finger is? Please follow along with me very carefully, because otherwise all the material doesn't mean anything. That's why I do this audio-visual thing. Thank God we could do it with the computer. Let's make full use of this. There's a point here. That's the corner, isn't it? Isn't this the corner right over here? The mitzvah is to place the tzitzis al hakonav, on the corner, kamfe v'gdehem. But you notice that actually the way people usually make tzitzis, that the tzitzis are hanging a little away from the point. Do you see that? We have the hole. Here's the point of the corner. That's what if you and I would ask, can you point out to me the corner of that tissue or the corner of the fabric, that garment? You wouldn't point over here, would you? You would point over here, the sharp point, and say that's really the corner. That's really the corner. So how can we be fulfilling the mitzvah? How can we fulfill it if we're putting the tzitzis on and they're hanging a little away from that point? So we're going to learn about that now. And we're also going to learn, it's actually mentioned in the Kitzur as well, in the Brit Shulchan Aruch, the way Chabad does it. We're not the only ones. There's another way to do it, which is probably on the tzitzis that you have brought with you for demonstration. But I want to make sure that you see what the problem is. Why is this fulfilling the mitzvah if it's not really on the point? So we'll find out right now as we read inside. Let's open our Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, please, and take a look at paragraph 3, Gimel, if you possibly can, okay? You have one, Reb Ephraim? You have one, Reb Chaim? You have one to use, Reb Chaim?
No.
Okay. For next time, do you own one?
Next time.
Do you own one?
I have more time.
Yeah, you do own one.
I have one, yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to ask you to please bring it
Just
each
got home
time.
and I don't
Yeah,
want to
please.
time I waste now,
Okay, please bring
You
it
know,
for next time.
then I'm under pressure
Again,
later.
everything we see with
at the
our
time.
eyes, as a matter of
Next time
fact,
we'll
as
be
we
in
know,
trouble.
our brain takes a picture of what we see with our eyes. So especially when it's a Torah lesson, to look at the words, in fact, they're holy. It brings holiness into the body by merely looking at them. Hanekev, the whole, shemachnisin bo es hatzitza. Notice it's in the singular. The hole in which you bring in the fringe. Now it's really going to be 4 strings that we're talking about. They're going to go in the hole and double over normally. Lo yeheracho, shall not be further misfasa beged from the edge of the fabric, the cloth, hein ba'orach, hein barochav, whether the length or the width, yoser min shlosha agudlim, more than 3 thumb wants to do today. The human
Rabbi
body,
Schaefer,
yes,
Rabbi Schaefer,
yes, human
Rabbi
body,
Schaefer,
yes,
Rabbi Schaefer,
yes.
You're
There's a sound problem.
Where it's dropping the audio. You're freezing for a short time.
Can you hear me now? You just spoke now, and I had the same problem. What's that? When you spoke just now, I had the same problem. Yeah, but can you hear me now?
Are you getting it also or no?
Yeah.
Now you're clear. Now you're good. Now you're good and clear.
Yeah, we hear. Yeah, we hear. Maybe you could just repeat the last thing about the.
Go back.
Yes. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to use the human body as a ruler, which is something that goes back to ancient times. The Almighty designed His Torah so that you don't have to have a ruler. You don't have to have a micrometer. I think you know what that is. It's for measuring tiny things. I think Rebbe Ephraim might be familiar with that tool, etc. You don't have to have a ruler. You don't have to have a yardstick. Measuring can be done using the human body. I think I mentioned last week that from the elbow to the tip of the longest finger, that's the middle finger, that is an amma. That's an amma, and it goes between 18 and 24 inches, etc., which is why we have different measurements for the tzitzis themselves, because according to one opinion, it's supposed to be a cubit long and a cubit wide. Not only the front section and the length, with the front section and the back section, sorry. So right now, we are learning an important halachah, which may not match the tzitzis that you're wearing or holding in front of you, but we should know the halacha anyway, because we're going to do something very similar with regard to the tzitzis that you're either wearing or holding. So take a look at your thumb and look at the widest part of the thumb. Okay, that would be the end of close to the end of the nail, the widest part of the thumb. That is called an etzbah. In Hebrew, that's called an etzbah. So 3 thumbs would be 3 etzbos. Why do we need to know that? Because if the hole is too far away from the edge, then it's no longer called the kunaf. It's no longer called the corner of the garment. Now, you and I wouldn't know that. We'd say, look, maybe the whole thing is a corner. My whole tissue here is a corner, whatever. So therefore, the Shulchan Aruch gives us this law that we have to measure carefully when making the hole for the tzitzis. I think your tzitzis may have 2 holes. Is yours, Rebbe Ephraim? Do you have 2 holes?
Yeah, it has 2 holes and it's
yes,
two
yes,
etzbah from
and that
corner.
is mentioned in the abridged. That's mentioned here. But as I explained to Reb Chaim, we want to learn basic halachos, and we can also learn how we put them into practice following Chabad or other customs. This, what you have, is also mentioned in this book. It is mentioned here. So while by measuring with our thumb, as we can, you could do that with your tzitzis that you're wearing or the one that you're holding. If the hole is further, it's about 3 inches, by the way, and that's about the width of the thumb is 1 inch. And by our measuring it now, we're doing a wonderful mitzvah with